Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the AM Report for HAPS News, the network of now. It's Monday, January 18th. Happy Martin Luther King Day, Junior Day. It is a national holiday today, a day of service. I hope you're doing well. And as of right now, we got about 48 hours and 10 minutes until Donald Trump's term as president expires. So we're going to be discussing this morning what to expect in Trump's final days. We're going to be looking at what this big, wide range of things that Joe Biden has planned for his first 100 days. Trump's last 2 days, Joe Biden's first 100 days. That's what we're going to be talking about this morning on the AM Report. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining the AM Report. I'm Alex Mahajer. All right, it is Monday, and we've got a lot of people joining this morning. Thank you for joining from St. John, where I traveled to St. John earlier this year, FYI, before the pandemic. So beautiful place. So good morning from St. John, and it's good to see everybody this morning. If you're watching on the HAPS app, website, or platform, click the award button. Let me know you're enjoying it. If you're watching on Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, wherever you may be watching, leave me a comment. We'll bat around with each other live on air. Hello, Chris from Denver. Good to see you all this morning. We've got a lot of headlines to cover this morning, so I want to just jump right into it. First and foremost, COVID-19 is out of control. The U.S. is expected to surpass 400,000 deaths at some point today. The country added 4 million new cases this month as the vaccine rollout under the Trump administration continues to falter and be a real complete dismal disaster. Operation Warp Speed is not exactly facilitating a smooth rollout of the coronavirus vaccine. U.S. officials, health officials are saying that we have a screaming rate of COVID-19 transmission in this country, and I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint it exactly why the cases are getting so badly. It could be partially because of fatigue from social distancing and taking all of the safety precautions and mitigation measures that we know will keep us safe. But either way, please, everybody, mask up. There is a vaccine. We have to. We're on the real tail end of this, so we just gotta wait till we can get the shots in arms. And of course, Joe Biden. We're going to talk about his plan for his first 100 days, planning on 100 million vaccines in his first 100 days in the arms of Americans. So we're looking forward to that. Some further news today. Pardon me, Donald Trump is planning on about 100 pardons and commutations in his final day as president, which will be full day as president, which will be tomorrow, Tuesday, making a real mockery of the rule of law and an abuse of the pardon power. He's planning on, we're hearing, pardoning his children, close allies in his inner circle, and possibly even himself, although the jury is still out about whether or not he will do that. There's a lot of concern that he may pardon some of the Capitol insurrectionists that were participants to the violent siege of the government on January 6th. And I'll note that 88% of Donald Trump's pardons have been of people in his inner circle, in his orbit, people that he feels he wants to hook up with the pardon power and get them off the hook for the crimes they've committed. I'll note that if he tries to pardon himself, this is unprecedented. A president's never tried to do that. It's a kind of an admission of guilt, so it doesn't exactly bode well for him in his Senate conviction trial, which is set to start as early as this week at some point. So we'll keep an eye out on that, and let's see. Let's see. Speaking of his pardons, the grifter in chief, he's just grifting till the very end. We're hearing news that Trump's associates have been collecting fees from pardon seekers. This is records that have been exposed and from at least 36 lawyers and lobbyists that show that ever since it became clear that Trump would not be staying in office, that people have been paying fees to his associates to lobby Trump for pardons. So some of the pardons that we may be hearing about tomorrow when this list of pardons and commutations becomes public could very well be paid for, which just is such a mockery of the presidency, and just it's fitting, that the Cheeto in chief is going to grift all the way to the very, very end. Speaking of which, let's get on to our democracy watch. Security measures have been amped up all across the country at state capitals and also in Washington, D.C. ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration. First, a man identified as Wesley Beeler was arrested at a checkpoint near the Capitol with an unauthorized inauguration pass, which is sort of hilarious. Someone forged inauguration credentials to try to get in. He had a gun and more than 500 rounds of ammunition, according to Capitol Police. This guy appeared in court, said it was an honest mistake. That is the full disclosure here, is that he was released on personal recognizance by the judge in this case. But even his statement about it was just like, I just want to pretend like this whole thing never happened. To me, that seems like, okay, you want to pretend like it never happened because what? You were trying to do something scary and you got caught and now you just want it to go away, is what his statement sounded like. But full disclosure, he did get released on his own personal recognizance. And let's see, there's a lot of increased security at the inauguration. Defense officials are expressing concern about a possible insider attack from service members that are securing Joe Biden's inauguration. So the FBI, because of this fear that it could be an internal attack by someone who's already a service member, the FBI is vetting all 25,000 National Guard troops traveling to D.C. for the event. And it is quite a sight to see when you look at the images and video of the National Guard just roaming the streets of Washington, D.C. And we have a little bit of that footage for you right now. Let's take a look at Washington, D.C. last night, just 2 days ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration. Pretty wild. It's pretty wild. And here's the National Guard, just sort of during the daytime. I don't know if you guys can see, just sort of protecting the Capitol and doing routine reconnaissance of the area, checking cars to make sure that cars don't have any detonating devices attached to them, etc. It's all fairly dystopian, and I really can't believe that this is America, but it's necessary given the events of last week. And while we're on Democracy Watch, a point of personal privilege. Over the weekend, I was able to identify one of the Capitol insurrectionists, which is sort of wild. And I want to play this video for you that was surfacing on Twitter of a man at the insurrection that people were trying to identify. Let's check that out now. This is from the Capitol insurrection, January 6th.
All right, guys, we are at the Capitol right now. We're going to go back in. We got nice. I'm the only one with a shield, so I don't know why no one else brought a shield, but I brought one just in case they start shooting. So make sure if you ever take over the Capitol or any other big place, make sure you bring a shield. You can't get this anywhere except for the cops' hands. All right, guys, thanks for watching.
So this video was circulating on Twitter. People were trying to identify this man. He's bragging about stealing a shield from the Capitol Police. And I saw the video and I thought, this guy looks very familiar. And I went back to some video that I took on June 19th, 2019 at a very peaceful anti-Trump rally that was happening in Los Angeles. And when I was at that event, There was a there was a CNN reporter there who was asking very bizarro questions, and I kind of was suspicious because he was videotaping people that were getting in fights on camera, but they were pretending to be liberals, and it became very clear for me that he was training his camera on people who were not who were actors, who were acting and pretending to be in a violent altercation, and he was doing it for his cameras. And so I suspected he wasn't actually a CNN journalist, and this is what happened. And check this guy out. This guy's claims to be a CNN journalist.
News Corp? So Fox News. Yeah, you're with Fox News purporting to be a CNN journalist. Yeah. Okay. It's not both.
Figure out who owns everything, then you
who owns CNN? Time Warner? Do you know that this is going to go viral, man? You can't go around telling people you're CNN and then you're actually an employee of News Corp. There's no journalistic integrity. Hey, I'm just telling
Well, and there it is. So, just trying to get that video under control. So basically, this was a guy who's pretending to be a CNN journalist. He had a News Corp press badge. The press badge I got was able to screenshot it. His name is Jess Weber, and because it's the same guy that was videotaped at the Capitol insurrection. His name is Jess Weber. He's a right-wing radical who goes to a Democrat or left-wing protests of Trump or Black Lives Matter protests, instigates violence on camera, and was actually at the Capitol committing violent acts. And we were able to ID him for the FBI. And very important to note that that was what he was that was the kind of behavior he was participating in prior to his involvement at the Capitol insurrection. That he's been a right-wing agitator for quite a bit, or so it appears from my purview, from my perspective. So hopefully we've got a new guy coming in. And speaking of the new guy, Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden's plans for the first 100 days is looking pretty promising for progressives. We've got his plan to terminate the Keystone XL pipeline. He's going to end the Muslim travel ban, halt federal executions, seek a national minimum wage of $15 an hour, which is going to be wrapped in to his larger COVID-19 stimulus package, which I think is very interesting. He's taking a progressive objective of the last few years and putting it into the stimulus package for coronavirus. I think it's very, very clever tactic. He's planning on a $1.9 trillion COVID-19 economic stimulus and response plan to get 100 million vaccines out in his first 100 days. He wants to overturn Trump's harmful immigration policies, cancel at least some student debt for borrowers, and postpone payments throughout the duration of the COVID-19 pandemic. He wants to rejoin the Paris Climate Accord, create a national police oversight commission, and extend federal eviction and foreclosure protections in the United States, all in his first 100 days. And many of these actions we may even get in his first day. We're hearing that he may do this all on his first day. So we will see how that goes. We got 48 hours now. As of now, right now, we got 47 hours and 56 minutes until Joe Biden is inaugurated, and it can't come soon enough. Got a lot of comments joining this morning. Noel Yamang says, "Oh wow, he was him." Yep, it was definitely him. It was definitely him. And I was like trembling when I saw it. Like, oh my gosh, I can't actually believe that it is him, but it was. And Michelle Alexander says it's a do-it-yourself how to be insurrectionist. So funny. Yes, indeed. Let us know what you think in the comments section. This has been the AM Report for Haps News, the network of Now. We are live every weekday morning with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this journalism, if you like this content, please consider sponsoring it. You can do that at haps.tv/@Alex. You can buy me a cup of coffee. become a recurring monthly sponsor, or you can just click the subscribe button and get notifications when I go live. We will be back tomorrow morning. Thank you all for joining the AM Report, and we'll see you all tomorrow. And before we go, I want to play this message about MLK Day from President-elect Joe Biden.
Dr. King once said, "Everyone can be great because everyone can serve." It's one of his many lessons that endures today and that we've seen throughout this pandemic. From sewing masks to dropping off groceries to their elderly neighbors, Americans across the country know that service, looking out for one another, is part of who we are as a nation. And it's why, during the inaugural week, my family and I will be joining the National Day of Service on Dr. Martin Luther King Day. On January 18th, 2021, we'll be partnering with organizations across the country to organize service events focused on COVID-19 relief efforts. We hope you can help. Consider what your community needs and reach out to your friends to get them involved. For example, you can collect jackets from your neighbors and drop them off at shelters. Fill a virtual shopping cart for a food pantry, or join virtual events to write cards of thanks to first responders. To find out more, go to bideninaugural.org/service to learn how to get involved and commit to serving your country on Dr. King Day of Service during inaugural week. Service is a fitting way to start to heal, unite, and rebuild this country we love. I hope you can join us. And thank you, and I wish you and your families much love and much hope for the new year.
And that's all she wrote, folks. We will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining.